Recording is started.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ted Phillips. I'm the chair of the JEA Awards Committee, and I would like to call the October 24th, 2024 awards meeting to order. We have a physical quorum present, represented by myself, Ted Phillips, Jody Brooks, and Ray Marshall. OGC is represented by Rebecca Levy. Budget is represented by Stephanie Neely. Did we receive any public comment via email?
No public comment via email.
All right, we have no one here in person. Is there anyone on the line this morning from the public who would like to speak at this time? Please unmute yourself and you have the floor. All right, hearing none, we will move on. On today's consent agenda, we have items 1 through 6. They have been approved by procurement, budget, OGC, legal, the business unit VP and chief, and are ready for awards committee approval. Before we take a vote on the consent agenda, is there any one of the board members who would like to move an item off of the consent agenda to the regular agenda for discussion or defer to another week? Hearing none, I would accept a motion to adopt today's consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
So that was Ray with the motion, Jody with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. On our regular agenda, we have 3 items. So item 1, excuse me while I get my papers in order here, is with Hatch Services and Commodities contract. It is a, this is who we use to do the calibration and repair of our field instruments in environmental. My only question on this was just a little bit more clarification. It says in the last statement on the agenda that the award amount includes a ratification amount of $263,000. This ratification was necessary to pay for invoices due in October, being this increase for approval was delayed due to hurricane response. Could somebody just maybe give a little bit more context on that?
Sure. Dan Crooken.
Great, Dan.
We had originally intended to bring this earlier in the month, but a couple of meetings got delayed and some both procurement and the business units were busy with various hurricane related duties. So this award got delayed. So we had to pay those invoices. So we went out of transparency. We put that note in the award. So make sure everybody knew.
Appreciate that. Have any other questions?
So I'm sorry, the only question I have, the award amount that we're approving today, does that award amount include this ratification number?
Yes, that 856 includes the 263.
Okay, and is there, and again, are we gonna have to come back again? I mean, is that gonna be enough funding for the rest of the contract term?
It should be.
Okay.
This includes new leasing for the new H2.0 plant. So since that's a new plant, that's why I'm hesitating. The business is confident it's enough, but
Okay.
whenever there's a new plant,
Right. There's a little bit unknown.
We don't know. We don't know yet, right? Yeah.
Understood. I'd say that have to keep bringing it back to increase the sum.
Right.
I don't have any other questions.
So my only comment would be, let's try to, not cut these so close in the future, so that if we have to have, if for some reason a meeting, and I know we had two meetings that got canceled over the last 4 or 5 weeks, but if we can work to make sure we're not getting this in the last minute of the award period, so we have a little bit of buffer in case we need to do that.
Understood.
Thank you.
Also, this is Talia Smith. I did want to also add to Jody's point about the funds. This is just a 1-year renewal as well. So we're hoping, and we're basing this off of estimates, that there should be enough funding. So we're pretty confident.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments on regular item number 1? Hearing none, I would accept a motion to accept item number 1.
Move to approve.
Second.
So that was Jody with the motion and Ray with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion's adopted. So we will move to item number 2. So I'm not sure when the last time we had a master service agreement come before this board, but it seems like it's been a little while, because I was a little confused on it. So if there's somebody from procurement that could maybe walk the board through this, because or maybe Rebecca, you might be the best person, because we're not awarding any amounts on these. So that was a little confusing to me.
Sure, I'll explain. So what we have here are a number of master service agreements that would be issued for surveying services. So surveying is one of the types of professional services that is required to be awarded on a qualifications-based evaluation under the CCNA. And so the reason that these are coming to you at the awards committee, even though there aren't any dollar amounts that are associated with them right now, are because under the procurement code requirements, anything that is required to be evaluated under CCNA requirements is considered a formal purchase that would come to awards. So what we have here are these surveying, these 16 surveying companies who submitted responses to the solicitation that we put out and scored above the threshold that it was determined that we should enter into contracts with them. And so what we want to do is we want to issue master service agreements whereby any time real estate needed to get a survey performed, that that they could then go and issue a purchase order under one of the master service agreements without having to, every time we need a surveyor for a specific project, go out and do that CCNA solicitation. So the reason we're doing these without a dollar amount attached to them is because when real estate does their surveys, the funds may come from any number of different sources, and administratively it seemed that it would be a simpler process if we could, rather than encumbering all of the funds for all of these companies at the outset, go as needed and then encumber the funds based on the project that the survey was associated and where they would be coming from at that time. So what we'll do is we will do a master service agreement that will provide that each individual task order or purchase order issued under that agreement will individually provide for the maximum indebtedness for that particular survey. And these are more just general terms and conditions that the surveyors will be operating under when they perform surveys for JEA.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Any other questions?
No, that was all very clear. I just administratively, I'm curious. It's 16 firms that we have here. Just wondering what the thought process was for that. I don't know if there was like a natural break or something. And do we anticipate utilizing all 16 firms for the 5-year period from an administrative perspective? I just wonder about.
Sure. There was a natural break at 80 points. And this is as similar as we could get to our former way of executing surveys, which was a qualified proposers list. And just for clarification, real estate, while the primary user of surveyors is not the only user internally of surveyors, we have several engineering and construction groups who make use of surveys. So we have found it's advantageous to have as many surveyors as we can.
How many have we had on the last master agreement?
I couldn't tell you the final number on the QPL, right? I know at some point it was well over 10. So I'm with you. It's a lot.
They also have different disciplines, I think, and it lends itself to the ability to have more versus less. But again, the administration of 16 master services agreements, I guess, is a concern.
Yeah, because I'm seeing here, going to do a master service for each one of these will be executed and purchase orders will be issued for individual projects. And I guess the purchase, and so if there's different expertise, I guess the purchase orders are issued for expertise, not necessarily this the volume of the work, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go through all. Let me stay out your business. I'll handle it.
Yeah.
Just on the face of it, it seemed
Like a lot.
a lot. Just my technical.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the only thing that I noticed.
I guess my recommendation would be, pick whoever is the expert in that area. And if you have multiple experts in that area, I would start with the higher score, right?
We are executing agreements with the highest ranked companies first.
Okay. That makes sense.
Or I should say prioritize.
Right. Understand. I did. Any other questions about number 2? Thank you. I entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
So that was Ray with the motion, Jody with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. All right, so we'll move to item number 3, our last item. So this is for the Fulton crossing conductors. This is single source. I was curious why we single source this. And also it says in the write-up, the cost of the ACCS C7 high performance conductor was 144% higher cost than JEA compatible standard legacy conductor, but staff considered the cost to be reasonable and recommends the source of this conductor for this project. So wanted a little bit more context around if it's 144% higher, why did that seem reasonable?
Sure. This is Jason Reinhardt. So the conductor that we typically use to achieve the ampacity.
Hey, Jason, we're having a hard time hearing you. Hang on.
Hey, Jody, I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, let me talk on my computer. So the conductor that we currently use, our standard conductor, is a 1590 ACSR. And what basically that means, there's an aluminum conductor on the outside. That's the majority of your current carrying capacity. But internal to that, there's a steel core. And that steel has a tendency to expand and contract when it heats and cools. And so When you heat this conductor up over time, it expands, and then you have the sag. All right, so if you think of an attachment point, we'll call it, let's just say 100 feet. You have that 100-foot attachment point, and this conductor sags 50 feet. So the belly of the sag is now at 50 feet. So let's just assume we want to achieve a 75-foot height at the belly of the sag instead of 50 feet. All right. So if we were to do that with our existing conductor, then you're having to increase the tower heights by another, let's just say in this example, another 25 feet, considering a 50-foot sag. Well, with this type of conductor, instead of sagging 50 feet, it might sag 25 feet. And the reason behind that is the core of that conductor, rather than being steel, it's a carbon composite material. We had looked at a slew of conductors here, all with different types of cores and different types of sags. We actually looked at one that was a single core. It's called ACC, aluminum conductor composite core, ACCC. The problem with that is if that core were to fail, obviously the conductor fails. What this is it's a multitude of cores that that are a multitude of composite cores where if you have one that fails, chances are that whole conductor will not fail. So ultimately you spend more on the conductor, but then you save more on the structures. So instead of having 125-foot structures, now you can sag it at 25 feet using 100-foot structures and still maintaining that 75-foot clearance to ground, or in this case, clearance to mean high water. Does that answer your question?
That, Jason, that was a great explanation for especially the non-engineer in the room. So the whole purpose of this project is to get those lines higher above the water and paying more for the conductors.
That's where the
structure makes perfect sense to me. So thank you very much for that. I don't know if anybody else has any questions.
Good explanation, Jason.
Thanks, Ray.
Have any questions?
All right. No other questions or comments? I'd entertain a motion for number 3.
Move to approve.
Second.
So that was Jody with the motion, Ray with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. So we have items 1 through 6 on the consent agenda, and items 1 through 3 on the regular agenda have been approved for the October 24, 2024 meeting. That's a mouthful, 2024. Anyway, is there any other business that needs to come before this committee today? Hearing none, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the great explanations and comments, and hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you very much.
Thank you.